Stay informed with Pacific Mornings.
Kia ora, it's currently 22 past 7. Welcome back to Pacific Mornings. I'm Alawai Lala. The Minister for Pacific Peoples, Dr Shane Reti, joins me now. Great to see you, Minister. Welcome back to the show.
Morena koutou mihi koe hoki.
Malo. Now, I just want to touch a bit on Scrutiny Week last week. Some reflections from you, key messages?
Sure. As is expected, Scrutiny Week is a week where the opposition are able to probe and seek answers around the recently announced budget. So it is a forward-looking process, and it occurred over the whole week. I had 5 scrutinies, as I recall, and it is that opportunity, as I say, to critique the recent budget and to ask further questions, and that proceeded well last week.
And it was a busy week for you last week with the announcement of the census. Now, I just want, some reassurance for our Pacific community, what it means for our communities, but also will Pacific figures be accurately captured?
So the data that is poorly represented in our current enumeration, so that is the door-knocking census, that's always been a challenge, particularly for Māori, Pacific communities, and some of these smaller communities. That remains a challenge, but under a new census, that is, previous census, it's been a door knock supported by administrative data. We're now reversing that. First of all, we're passing the census out from 2028 to 2030 to give us enough time to have this up and looking strong. And then secondly, we're reversing that order. So primarily the data will source from administrative data and then be supported by door knocking. Now that door knocking will still target those communities who are not well represented in census data, like Pacifica. So my expectation is that to some degree, Pacifica communities should still expect a census enumerator knocking on the door.
That's good reassurance. Now, just over to the driver license theory test, which now can be in Fijian and other Pacific languages. Are there any other governmental areas, processes that MPP is exploring, for example, using Pacific languages?
Oh, look, those are active policies led out by other agencies, and we're then asked if, as a ministry, if we can contribute as to how the policy settings can be correct and how implementation can be most successful. So the lead on that is from other agencies. I'm not aware of any active programs of a similar nature across other agencies, but they reach to us quickly around those policy settings and how implementation can be successful.
And I just also want to touch on your science and technology portfolio. Are there any relevant, updates for Pacific communities that will interest research?
Pacific communities are obviously represented in the research environment as well. What's also true is we'd like that representation to increase. I have been having some discussions actually with industry, particularly around what some new initiatives for Pacifica people looking to move into science, innovation, and technology. So we're working on that at the moment. Of course, the Te Loa Fund and the scholarship specifically funds STEM-related student progress. And we're interested in how we can, with the pivot towards the sciences for students, we're interested in how we can maximize those Te Loa scholarships.
And I just want to also keep on track with your ministry. Just on the Healthy Homes Initiative, give us an update on how the initiative is going. What's been happening on the ground?
Oh, that's been progressing really well. Shortly we're coming up for the 1-year review, of which we commissioned Otago University at the very start of the program to do a before and after review. And the feedback we've been getting is as good as we hoped it would be as we led into the program. The number of people who have benefited, particularly as we come into, we are amongst winter here now, the number of people who have benefited from draft remediation and mold remediation is actually beyond my expectations. I'm looking forward to the review confirming those anecdotal observations.
When can we expect for the review to be ready for the public to read?
Yes, haven't got a firm date on that. I would hope in the third calendar quarter to have that review so that we can look at what learnings and findings come from that review.
Hmm. Now, I understand it's supposed to be a year-long initiative. Any chance that it could be further extended?
That is something that we're considering and working through with the ministry. So we'd want to be informed by the review, but we are pondering while that review is still to be delivered as to what an extension might look like.
Hmm. And also, we look ahead to the country's first ever Bislama Language Week in just about a month. Can you talk a bit about its significance? And I believe it wasn't too long ago you were in Vanuatu.
That's right. I was in Vanuatu about 3 months ago, and that was as part of the Education Ministers, Pacific Education Ministers program. And I was wearing my Minister for Universities hat. And it was a very, very good meeting. The outcome statement was representative of all of our views. And so education remains. I was then with the University of South Pacific at AUT about a month ago as well. So it remains an important component, the education rollout and implementation in the Pacific. But yes, very excited, as are Vanuatu. People I meet from Vanuatu do comment on the Language Week inclusion. So very excited for that to roll out. In fact, during Scrutiny Week, last week, there was a delegation from Vanuatu who were actually sitting in the Scrutiny Week audience, so I acknowledged them.
Hmm. Now, Minister, why has it taken this long to have a Bislama Language Week? Do you think Melanesian communities in New Zealand are often overshadowed by the larger Polynesian presence?
There's a set of criteria for a language to be included in Language Week, and it was simply a matter of making our way through those criteria. And we thought we had mostly reached the substantive languages that we needed to include, but it turned out that this also met criteria, and so has been the last to be added.
Hmm. And just before we wrap up, Minister, any final messages, any news to leave with our audience today?
Look, we're working really hard along with the Ministry for Foreign Affairs and Trade on how we can continue to progress the interests of Pacific people. Just yesterday, I had a meeting with Hierarchy from the Pacific Island Forum, looking at substantively how the forum can be more effective and efficient, and just reiterating the uh, seniority of that forum as a place where Pacific Islands come together to discuss issues of the moment.
Hmm. And Whawhetai Lava, that was Minister for Pacific Peoples, Dr. Shane Reti. Thank you so much for your time this morning, Minister.
Kia pai tō rā.